Hello, everybody. We are so excited to have you here tonight. We very much value and appreciate your time. So, we are going to give you lots of good content here in a short amount of time. If you have a pen and paper, go grab one right now. Thank you so much for being here. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Gloria McLean, and I got started on this journey 6 years ago this month. 6 years is crazy. It has gone by so fast. It has been the most incredible journey. A little bit about my story is I was definitely one of the skeptic and stubborn people. I thought that I had tried everything when it came to my health. I had lived for 9 years with a chronic illness. With that came a lot of medications and a lot of just not getting better no matter what I tried. And so I started to really look at what I was eating and I started cleaning up my foods. And then I started to shop at like Nature's Fair and places like that. And I started kind of looking towards clean ingredients, but I didn't know that they weren't actually clean at the time. So I thought that I kind of was doing everything I could do towards my health. And I didn't really think Young Living had anything different to offer me. So I pushed it away for 7 months. And then I hit kind of rock bottom in my health. I ended up fainting in my garden. I had company over. It's like this whole long story, but long story short, I had been living on Advil for years and years and years, and that had finally caught up with my gut and landed me in the hospital. And they offered me another kind of medication to help with my pain. But at that point, it was like 9 years of doing the same thing and having the same result. And I remember my good friend Lisa telling me about this amazing lifestyle, these oils, and how much they could help me. And honestly, like I was so stubborn. I thought they're not going to work, but I literally have nowhere else to turn. And so I went back to work a week later and I said, I'm ready to get started. I'll get that stupid kit. I called it at the time. I'm sorry, Lisa. I love you. Thank you for your patience. And I got my starter bundle here, which looks like this, and it comes with a diffuser, and I spent $199 on it at the time, which cool story. It's still the same price all these years later, which is friggin' amazing. And I remember having major mom guilt. I thought like, I don't have this kind of money to spend. And I don't even know if this is going to work. And then I got home and I started diffusing and my house smelled amazing. And I live in like a 1950s farmhouse. So that was really, really cool. So I was like, okay, I didn't waste my money. My house smells really good. And at that point, I thought oils kind of only smelled good. I didn't really understand the whole, what they could really do. And then I messaged my girlfriend, which is one of the reasons I love Young Living, is that you're not on this journey all by yourself trying to figure it out. You have so much support and so much guidance. There's always people to ask questions and groups that you can ask questions and apps that you can get that help you. So I said, what can I use for sleep? And she said, rub Northern Lights and lavender and frankincense on your big toe. And I was like, this is weird. But I did it because at the time I was taking medication to help me fall asleep at night because I wasn't getting proper REM sleep. So I did that and I had the best sleep I had had in a really long time. And I thought it had to be a coincidence. And so I was like, I'm curious, like to try other things and see. And I used Digest. We'll go through these oils, but I used Digest for my gut and I felt like almost instant relief. And if you've used Digest, like it's one of the win over the skeptic kind of people because it works so fast and it smells kind of bad, but that's okay. It works. And I just kind of had all these little wins enough that I was like, okay, I'll go to one of those classes that she had been telling me, which is where you are right now. And I finally went to one and I learned new ways to use the oils. I remember thinking that night, I'm never going to remember all the things that are being said to me. So it's okay if you don't. Keep coming back and keep learning because there's always new ways that you can use these oils. I'm still learning 6 years later. And I remember someone mentioning oils for skin. I used lavender for my skin and my skin started to clear up. And it was like, by month 2, even though I said I was not going to be involved in one of those loyalty programs where I was ordering every month, the only reason I signed up for the loyalty program was so I could get a free oil and then I was going to be out. But then I was having all these little wins. So I said, okay, I'll try the Thieves cleaning products and I tried those. And then big, huge win. I could talk about my wins like all night with you guys, so I'm not going to do that. But like big, huge wins with that transition, huge. And then the next month, third month in, I was like, okay, I got to try that Ningxia everyone's talking about, which we're going to talk about tonight too. And by month 3, I looked at my husband, who was like the biggest skeptic when I first brought my oils home. And I said, you know what I noticed since I started using these products? And he was like, yeah, like I have my wife back. Like we all notice. And that's when it kind of hit me. It took me kind of a few months. I'm not going to say use this one oil and your life is going to change overnight. It wasn't like that for me. It was like a process, definitely, of like removing the toxic stuff I was using and switching over to these products. But it was like when other people can see the difference in you, you know, like, oh, okay, this is something really special that I have here. And even though when I got this bundle, I said, I'm never going to share with anyone. Don't ever ask me to do one of those things. Like, no, no, no. Here I am 6 years later. Can't stop talking about it because it made such a profound impact in my life in 3 months. And after 9 years of struggling with like acne and digestive issues and not sleeping and anxiety, and then going, oh my gosh, that was always all connected. I wish I would have known that, years earlier. It's like, how can I not tell other people? Because so many people out there, and maybe you listening right now, are like, I have all those things, or I have some of those things. So yeah, I have not stopped sharing ever since. And I'm still so obsessed with this bundle. I actually used every oil in this bundle like today. I was like, I don't know how people live without it. It's so amazing. So that's my story. That's why I'm here. And I'm going to pass it to Tamara, who's right here for me, but maybe not for you.
Hello, everybody. So it's funny that Gloria says that she was a skeptic, because I also was a skeptic. I think it took about 1.5 years of watching Gloria share the things that she was doing. I could see kind of the vitality come back. I could see that she was feeling better, and that, it created a curiosity for me that I would, be like, hey, tell me a little more. And then I'd be like, no, I don't want to know anymore, because I had never used essential oils. I definitely had some stuff about that kind of business model. But the reality is that we were doing like a journey of eating really clean at the time that I enrolled. And we started to go, so if we take these ingredients, these preservatives and stuff like that out of our food, and we feel better and we look better and we sleep better and our sex drive is better and all of these things, right? So because your hormones are being balanced through what you eat, because your food is your medicine oftentimes. And so it was like, so what would happen if we also started to eliminate some of those, like, you hear about these ingredients, like this is not like a Young Living campaign. You hear about toxins and fragrance and BPAs and SLS and endocrine disruptors. You hear about those things, like they're all over the place. Like you can't click through MSN in a day where there isn't some kind of thing about, this is impacting fertility. This is, whatever negative health impacts that a lot of us consider. Are you having trouble sleeping? Is your libido shot? And a lot of people consider those things, because they're so common, to be normal. But that's really not the case. So we started to look at like what would happen if, and I'm like the least DIY hippie type of person. Like that's just not really my jam. Like if I can buy it, I want to buy it every time. I don't want to make my own. But I started to go down that route of making like body lotions and body washes and things like that, looking to source more natural ingredients and stuff. Meanwhile, Gloria's over here being like, I'm living this amazing toxin-free lifestyle. And it always looked like she was having the best time. So finally, 4.5 years ago, December of 2017, I like legit messaged her and was like, here's my credit card number, like take my money before I change my mind. I also said, I was like, it just a one time, I'm just going to get the bundle. I'm going to check it out. I'm pretty sure that I bought 2 more orders just that month. And Gloria had to like fix that for me because I just was like so excited. I was like going and buying things and she was like, no, wait, you're missing out on stuff. So thank goodness that we do have this community of people who like jumps in and kind of saves the day when you mess things up like that. But the same went for us, like little things that I had considered, well, this is just my life, headaches that I had, like literally a headache pretty much every day, taking over the counters 3 to 5 times a week, became like, they just stopped. And it was when we eliminated, specifically, I think for us, it was fragrance. Like that was because I had all of, like, no judging on anybody who has all those things, because I had it all, like all of it. Okay. I had every plug-in, every wax melter, every highly scented fragrance. Like that was our life. And I had a headache all the time. So it, eventually it would, oh, well, not very long, actually. That started to go away as we replaced those things with diffusing oils. So our house smelled great, and, changing the things that were in our products. And yeah, it has had such a huge impact on our physical health, on our mental health, because prior to having oils, I didn't ever sit down and like intentionally breathe even, right? And with oils, it's one of those really easy things to do. You put a drop and and a lot of us don't do that. We never de-stress. And so we just live in this like heightened state of, our bodies are just like on high alert all the time. So, yeah, huge benefits that we saw in our house, along with her, and just all those little things that you were like, I didn't realize. So yeah, here we are 4.5 years later. We haven't missed a month. My husband also has an account, also never misses a month. So, that whole, what am I going to order next month? That was very quickly dissipated. And I followed that same step, got the oils, moved into Thieves, replaced all the things. Gloria, it was a kind of slow and steady process. I was like, everything into the garbage. One fell swoop. Not everyone can do that. Sometimes you have to, you go like one product at a time, and sometimes you're like legit, your husband's like, where's everything out of my shaving kit? And you're like, ooh, here's your new Young Living one. So, but all for the better, right? So anyhow, we are going to go through this today. Do you want to talk on why we choose? Are you frozen?
Oh, I can hear you, but it's glitching. Can you see? Am I frozen now?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. I think I might switch my Wi-Fi really quick. So if it gets weird for a second, just bear with me. One sec. Okay. We're all still here. Yay. Okay. This looks better. It's not as glitchy. Amazing. And I love that. And I've never thought to share that before, but just the intentional breath that we take now when I put my oils on, and I'm like, when do we ever stop to do that? And now I do it all day. So amazing. Why have I never, anyways, so cool. So why Young Living? So I actually get asked this question quite a bit. And to be honest, when I first got started, I chose it because I trusted my friend. She was patient with me. She was loving. She wasn't ever pushy or salesy or weird. And when I was ready, like I knew where I wanted to go to get them. So I didn't really know anything about other companies or why Young Living was so amazing at the time, to be honest. But since I've gotten the bundle, this company, like, I mean, I could tell you all the amazing ways, but I don't even know if it's believable unless you're actually in it for a while, because I don't know if I would have like believed it. But what I love about Young Living is that they own and partner with all of their farms. So they grow all over the world. They have a lavender farm in France. They have a I was gonna say Franken farm, a frankincense farm in Oman. Like where I know, right? So where the plant grows natural is where they have their farms. We have a Canadian farm now, which is the Northern Lights farm, and it's one of the largest forests left in like North America or something. I might be getting that mixed up, but it's like amazing. So I love that. I also love that anyone can go and be a part of the farm experience. I've personally been to many farms now. I've stayed at a farm for a week. I've cut down the trees, put them in the steamer. We danced Irish music on them. And the people that worked there were like, put more love in, more love. And we were like laughing and dancing. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's like no other company that's like this, that you can just like, really, it's just so transparent and they welcome people to come and have a look. And I looked for closed doors and there were not any, because I was like, there has to be like somewhere that we're not allowed to go. But I've also been to Ecuador, which was a life-changing experience through the Young Living Foundation. So they also have a beautiful foundation that gives back to communities all over the world. And they have 3 pillars there. So it's championing education and enterprise and ending exploitation. So, I mean, all things that I think we can get on board with as a society. I think that's so beautiful. I got to go and meet the child I sponsor in Ecuador. So, I mean, did I know all of that when I got started, that it would be all of these amazing things? No, but I'm so grateful that it all aligned and that I ended up with this company, because I can't imagine being with any other company that just shares the same values as me, as well as I really recommend going and checking out www.seed2seal.com, because they won't grow on any ground that's had any like pesticides or anything like that for 50 years previous. They will not plant in that soil, because Gary was very much like, if you don't know your soil, you don't know your oil, and it has to be clean dirt and clean ground. And I think that is something that's also amazing. They also use first distillation. I'm like, I could also go on about this forever. They also use first distillation oil. So a lot of companies do not do that. They use third, fourth, fifth, sometimes sixth distillation. So imagine when you make a tea. Now imagine using that same tea bag 5 times. I mean, the 5th time it's going to be really weak and it's not really going to give you what you're looking for. It's pretty much just going to be water. So there are definitely different grades of oils. Ours are a therapeutic grade. 100% of what they say is in the bottle is in the bottle. So we also have third-party testing for that. So it's not just Young Living saying, these are amazing. We're also backed by Health Canada. So this company is so amazing. I love that they put so much care into their products. It makes it easy to stand behind, because essential oils are actually not regulated. So if they have something on a store shelf that says 100% pure therapeutic grade, nobody's checking to see if that's true, and people can just put whatever on a label. So those bottles that are on the shelf in stores may have preservatives, fragrance, things like that on them. A lot of the times you can even read on the labels, it says don't put on skin. Or like, it's like, so I want to inhale this into my brain, affecting all of my olfactory system. I'm like, no, thank you. So just be cautious where you get your oils from. And that's not just us saying that, because there's a lot of them that are not pure and clean, and you don't want to be pulling that into yourself. So, okay, let's crack this bad boy open. I'm like, I could just talk about why I love Young Living all night, but we're not gonna, we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes. All right, I just opened this kit and it's not in the order that I like to do it in. So it's okay. We're gonna still do it in that order, Tamara. Her face, she's like, no. It smells really good though already. So if you have your oils, smell along. I also just remembered that they may be a little tight in there when if you know your if you like have your kit, you're like when you first get it. Okay, let's start with lavender. This is the one that I would have paid $199 for just for this one oil, because it helped my skin clear up, and I had spent so much money on that previous to oils, and so this was a game changer. Why do you love lavender, Tamara?
Funny story. I used to think I hated lavender. Like, seriously, when I first got it, I was like, lavender. But, you know, it turns out it's not actually lavender that I hate. It's synthetic lavender that I don't care for. Because it really, I mean, I probably use lavender at least once a day for something.
Mhm.
whether it goes into my sleep blend, whether I'm adding it to my moisturizer, whether I'm using it in a bug spray, whether it's going into another diffuser, if I just need to decompress. Sometimes when you burn yourself in the kitchen or sunburn, both really great. Like it's so skin supporting, lavender, and so calming. Like we used to joke that it's like really good to help your kids relax at night.
Seriously, I know the joke. Oh my goodness, you're so funny.
But it's like it truly is like the Swiss Army knife. Like it has so many, like just the Health Canada approved things for lavender.
Yeah.
It's like cough and cold, stress and relaxation,
Thanks.
joint and muscle pain, digestive issues. Like who would have even thought? I never would have imagined to use lavender for like cough and cold symptoms, especially for like a little person
Yeah.
where, you know, you might not want to use something that is like overly like eucalyptus or something like that. You might
Mhm.
want something that's just a little bit gentler. And lavender, aside from the calming aspect, it's also great for respiration. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. I feel like so many different ways to use lavender. If anyone is watching this replay and you're like, I don't even know essential oils, what they are, how to do anything, I highly recommend the reference guide app on your phone. It's like a one-time fee. Yes, thumbs up. It's like a one-time fee and it is my lifesaver. I am not an expert on oils. This is like 6 years in. So if you're like, oh, that's a lot, but if you just type in like cough and cold or skin or da da da, it will give you like what to use, what works the most for the most people, kind of what's the second tier of what works for other people. Because not all the same oils are going to work for all of us. We all have a different genetic makeup. We have different like pheromones. We have different ways that we react to things. And so maybe lavender works for me for sleep, and maybe it wakes somebody else up. So it's really great to have an app so that you don't just try one thing and then think oils don't work for me, because you might just need the next thing and that might be the thing that changes your sleep for the rest of your life. And I think that's worth trying a couple, right, oils for. Lucky for me, lavender worked like night one. And for most people, it's really great for sleep. The next one is peppermint. I am obsessed with peppermint. I have used peppermint so many times in the last couple days. Like I can't imagine life without it. It keeps mice and spiders away. So if you have like ants, mice, spiders, anything like that, I just put a few drops on like a cotton ball, and you can put it where the mice are coming in. If it's mice, like if people, I know people that have like RVs and stuff like that, it's really helpful for that. Ants, just like drop it right where you see them kind of all coming in, and they will take it back to their queen or whatever. And it's, yeah, sorry, sorry, ants. I also love it because the other night it was really, really muggy here and super hot. And so I put some of this in a spray bottle with some Epsom salts. The reason I put Epsom salts in there is so that it will disperse the oils, because water and oils don't mix. So if you just put them straight on and spray them on your skin, it might be really cooling or really hot. But I just like sprayed it all over and laid under the fan. And I was like in heaven. It was so nice and cool. And yeah, so many ways to use it. How do you use it, Tamara?
Well, I see Tanya says that it's a godsend for like ladies having their own personal summer. And yeah, I agree, because you know it could be -40 and you could be like, whoo, wow. So that's great for that. We do use it in our RV. We put it on cotton balls and put it all over the place. And I don't know, 12 years we have stored our trailer in um like a for years it was in like a farmer's field, and we had mice in our oven almost every single year. And then we moved it into town a little bit closer and started to use Young Living, because I never even knew before. I probably would have bought some like
Mhm.
cheap peppermint oil and use it, because at that point you're just using it as a repellent, right? um, but I didn't even know. So it's another cool thing about this community is the amount of resources that people are like, oh, I use this for that. And
Yeah.
you get like actual personal like testimonials of people using these things, right? So yeah, cooling. It's great for I mean, it's great in chocolate brownies.
Also, yes.
We have a
Big
plus
fan.
line, right? So that's the white label, which is it's actually labeled for a food as a food flavoring. It's the same oil, but Health Canada requires that we label them differently. And so that in like chocolate frosting or chocolate brownies is like a game changer. It's also great for cookies and stuff like that. Respiration, like if you're a little stuffed up,
Yes.
woo, waking you up on a long car trip is also great. Lots of people use it for nausea, right? Like digestive stuff, especially if they really don't care for the other oil that's in our kit that's really digestion focused. Peppermint's a great alternative to that one.
Yes, I love it. I remember one of the girls that's Michelle, if you're watching, I'm going to share your story. That is what won her over was peppermint because she was not feeling good at a dental conference and she had bought peppermint from the store and she was always used to just putting it up in her nose and then like going about her day. And Ange was like, yeah, use whatever. My Young Living's on the counter in the bathroom. And Michelle put peppermint, like Young Living peppermint up in her nose. And she was like, what the actual heck is this? This is so strong. And she was like, whoa, this stuff's so different. But that's like, it made her get the bundle because as much as it burned. By the way, if you ever get anything spicy, like peppermint, on a place you don't want it, then just use like a fatty oil. So like grapeseed oil, olive oil, butter, if that's all you have close to you, like as long as it's a fatty soluble, just don't use water because that's gonna, right? Water and oils don't mix. It's just gonna amplify it. And you're gonna be like, these oils. But that is what won her over because she just could feel such a difference with these oils. She learned the hard way. Um, so we have lemon next. I'm gonna just tell you right now, I love every oil in this bundle. So lemon is so amazing. It's definitely like a mood booster. So think citrus, think sunshine, think like happy thoughts. I know we've had a lot of rain in BC. So there's been a lot of lemon diffusing to kind of give us that sunshiny, uplifting vibe. And I also just love it to clean like my ovens and my barbecue, anything like greasy. It's like nature's Gooby Gone. It will cut grease like nobody's business. Yeah. What about you, Tamara? I'm like,
I mean, my husband is dirty, and I mean that from his job. So he regularly gets like paint on his hands and and stuff like that. So I mean, if you know, you know. And so he regularly gets stuff. Really, one of the biggest things for him, like in the beginning, he was very much like your husband, Glow, where he was like, yeah, whatever, you're weird hippie nonsense stuff, right? And so he had sap on his truck and he had tried everything, all of the like most toxic things you can think of that might get sap off of a truck. And I was like, well, I mean, try lemon oil. And he like scoffed at it and was like, and I said, well, you know, you don't have to. And he came back in like 10 minutes later with like this wad of Kleenexes because he had like taken my whole bottle of lemon and like put it on all the sap marks that were all over his truck. And then because they just wiped off with Kleenex, because he was like trying to scrape them off and stuff before, and literally it like melted the sap. And then he had all these like Kleenexes where he had just wiped the sap off of his truck. So he was like sold right away. We had to buy lots more lemon. We always have like multiple bottles of lemon going in the house like all the time. But I've heard it take paint out of carpet and Sharpie off of furniture and kids and anything sticky, like if you have stickers on things.
Yes.
So good for that. And it is a word of caution. It is a photosensitive oil. So a lot of us really love fresh perfumes and citrus scents, especially in the summer. They smell so fresh. But if you are going to put oils into a spray and go out in the sun, you need to make sure that you don't have citrus oils in them because they are photosensitive and it can be pretty serious. I've seen some not good stuff. So make sure that you put it where the sun don't shine. I do not mean that literally. What I mean is like put it somewhere where you're covered by clothes. There are so many places that you can put oils on your body that they're not going to be exposed to the sun, and they're not anywhere like too close to a mucous membrane where you're going to have to worry about them causing any problems, right? So
Again, butter.
photosensitive, but still all the things. It will, even if you don't like an oil, if you put an oil in your diffuser and you're not in love with it, usually if you add lemon or another citrus oil, that can make all the difference in the world. It can make it like, oh, I actually really like that. So
yes, it totally cuts anything that's too sweet or too florally. Florally, is that a word? Yeah, lemon, it attracts the sun, and not in a good way. So no bueno. Make sure you're reading before you put your oils on and go outside and lay in the sun. Okay, next one, Copaiba, Copaiba. Oh, don't worry, girl. I'm getting there. Let's hold it up together. No, you hold those. Okay, so this oil right here is a magnifying oil. And these 3 oils that we just talked about are nature's natural antihistamine. So if you want to make yourself, and I mean, who doesn't have allergies this time of year? I mean, lucky if you don't, but put those in, I know, right? Put those in a roller bottle. I do about 5, 5, 5 personally. You can start with 2, 2, 2. Some people do that. I'm like a heavy hitter. Sometimes I do more than 5. And then this oil right here, Copaiba, I don't know how to say it, but I know it works. You put it with any kind of blend that you make. So in that case, an allergy roller, and it's going to make it extra strength. So this oil basically just amplifies whatever you put it with. So if you're using like a sleepy time roller, it's going to make it like an extra strength roller. If you use it with the allergy roller, it's going to be like an extra strength one. And this is just sap right from a tree. It doesn't really have much of a smell. I feel like I can smell it now that I'm quite seasoned. I'm like, is that a hint of tree I smell? Wishing it around. Right? Maybe a little. We can be here all night. So this oil is also packs a punch, but it's also safe even for a teething baby. So I have used this on my daughter Evelyn. You can like put it right outside on their gums. I was in oils for quite a while, and I felt very safe to just rub it right on her gums, and she went from screaming to like calm in minutes. I wish I would have got it on tape, but I wasn't thinking in the moment to do that. I just wanted to make the screaming stop, and I was just blown away. And the really cool thing too is when you see it work so well on a kid, you can understand, okay, this isn't just a placebo effect. This is like, right? Because a baby doesn't know, oh, this is going to work for me. So when you see it work, you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. But yeah, it took her from screaming to calm, and Lisa was with me. She can attest to that. I also love this for like underneath my eyes right here before I put my makeup on, any kind of inflammation. Not compliant, but I put a couple drops under my tongue when I was dealing with all of my inflammation, because I looked up on the app and it was one that came up a lot. And so I'm obsessed with this one as well. Can't live without it. All right. What do we want? Oh,
I just want to say, so like if you're in the US, so maybe this class is being broadcast to US members. If you're in the US, Copaiba does come in the Vitality line, which is ingestible.
yes.
So we have a little bit different regulations. A cool thing is we have access to the US market as well as the Canadian market. So that's amazing that we have that. But yeah, so it doesn't show up here as a plus line yet, although frankincense is. And so, it's probably just a matter of time before that comes over. Because they do recognize it as safe. It also, if you know what beta carotene is, it's why a lot of people take CBD tinctures and things like that, is because of the beta carotene, which is really great for like inflammation, like Lo said, pain management, sleep, things like that. Copaiba generally has a higher amount of beta carotene in it than most CBD tinctures on the market, and no THC, obviously. So it's a little bit different than an actual cannabinoid like you get with CBD.
Yeah.
but the effect in your body is very, very similar without ever having to worry about, you know,
Yeah.
maybe dabbling in something that you're not as comfortable with.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Love that. Yeah. I think it's like CBD is like 30.
Up to, it's like 5 to 35%.
Yeah. And then this is like in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. 55, which is like, that's a huge, anyways, it's amazing. Everyone needs Copaiba. I'm obsessed with it. Okay. So next we have Panaway, or no, what does, oh, what do you have there?
Frankincense.
Oh, frankincense. I'm like, my kit's not in the right order. I feel so weird.
No.
I literally just opened this brand new kit because I broke into my other show kit because I needed my Ningxia packages and frankincense. It was a whole thing. So I had to order another one, but they're always 50% off. So why not just get a whole new bundle? Frankincense. I'm obsessed. So this one right here, I've used it to remove like a skin tag that I had on my neck. I did it with lemon oil. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Day 2, it started to really like dry up and it kind of hurt a little bit. So just be prepared for that. But then by day 3, it was like pretty much all shriveled up. And day 4, it was totally gone. And now I don't have to worry about necklaces getting caught and stuff on there. So I can wear necklaces again, which is really great. There's so much I want to say about frankincense, but I'm going to be a good girl. And I'm going to just tell you that PubMed is an amazing resource. I recommend just popping in frankincense in the PubMed. Don't do it on Google because Google's just like whatever you want to find on Google, you're going to find good, bad, like, because it's just people writing their opinions and it's not necessarily facts. PubMed is like scientific documented studies. And I believe there's like up to 18,000 documented studies on frankincense now. What I can say is that it knows when something is abnormal on or in the body, and it's really good at like shrinking it down or removing it. So it does it with like age spots, wrinkles, skin tags, and many other things. Go.
This is one of those ones that I was talking about earlier with the breathing.
Yes.
Right? That like taking that minute to just be present and take a couple of really deep cleansing breaths with frankincense it does like magic stuff in your brain. It's so calming and so grounding. And so if you're feeling a little overwhelmed or, you know, your emotions are high, frankincense is a really great one to do that with. And like you said, like skin, like pretty much all of Young Living's skincare products that are specifically targeted at reducing the signs of aging specifically have frankincense in them, and that's for a reason. So you know, I'm of an age where I'm looking to do all the things I can to support my skin and, you know, keep father time at bay. So frankincense is definitely but I also find that just the, you know, stress shows on your face. Right. And so the calmer and more grounded you are, the more that comes across when you're talking to people, interacting at work, at home, whatever. So yeah, all the diffusing, all the wear it in your jewelry, like everybody needs the frankincense all the time. We have one couple in our team that call it the anti-crazy oil because it just she runs on high emotions, and when things, you know, aren't going according to plan, it's easy for her to just take the oil and take a couple of deep breaths and just, you know, take that down a couple levels. So
beautiful. I remember one girl, I believe she was in your organization, but she was saying how she used to have these racing thoughts all the time. And she got her starter bundle and she started to use frankincense as a skin care regimen. Like she wasn't doing it for any other reason but her skin. And she woke up one morning a few days after using it consistently, and she heard the birds in the morning. And she was like, that may not seem like a big deal to people, but I was so used to waking up and just hearing my mind click in and start going over all the things I had to do and da da da, and my day yesterday and my day, and like it was always this like scattered way of thinking. And then she woke up and she heard the birds and she was like, I feel like it's just calmed my mind right down. And I'm like, give me all the Frank. And so now I like don't, yeah, put it here. I had a girl too tell me that like she was going through so much just heavy stuff in her life that she actually dumped like half a bottle of Frank like right onto her head, and it was like a full reset. She was like, it's cheaper than wine. And it freaking worked. I'm like, I will try that one day, but also wine, balance. Tanya's like, yay, cheers, girl. So yeah, I love Frank for so many reasons. It's also really great for like meditation, prayer, yoga. If you do anything kind of spiritual like that, it's very, very grounding. Really, when it comes to like any kind of tree oils, think like rooted, think grounded, think grounding. Same with citrus oils, think sunshine, think happy, and like floral, think skin. We kind of overcome, like not we, but like it can get complicated, the oil thing, if we want it to be, but it can also be very simple if we allow it to be. And so that's like a simple way of kind of thinking of it. I actually had an indigenous woman teach me that. She was like, oh yeah, tree oil, rooted, grounded, got it. Oh yeah, citrus, sunshine, yeah, happy. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, you get it, I get it. You're amazing. You should be teaching the class. And now she does teach classes. Okay, what do you have in your kit next? I want to get the order right. Panaway? Oh, yay! Okay. Yeah.
I got the OG Panaway.
Oh, you keep that forever. So this oil we're about to talk about and frankincense right here, you guys, these two oils in a diffuser are the cost of the entire bundle if you don't buy it as a bundle. So that's why we're so obsessed with this bundle, is because it's such a good value. Literally, if I run out of these, I just get another bundle, because why wouldn't you? So Panaway right here. After I'm done this call tonight, I'm going to have a bath in this. It's like my favorite oil to bathe in. Again, with Epsom salts, you will burn your bits and pieces if you do not use Epsom salts. I hope I've stressed enough that your oils need to disperse. Because when I first like tried oils many moons ago, before I got started with Young Living, I had a bath in orange oil and I didn't know you were supposed to use things. And let me just say, I jumped out of that bath real quick and I was like, oils are the worst, not for me. So don't forget to use your Epsom salts. Oh, hi, Charlie. My puppy just came in. So this one I do about 4 drops with a cup of Epsom salts, put it in my bath, and it's like a full body, like relaxant. I also like to mix like frankincense in there sometimes if it's been like a harder day. I know this is kind of one of the ones that won you over, Tamara, because you were moving your daughter or something.
Yeah, she had just moved out and I got to move my office back out of the basement and up to the top floor of our 2-story house. And I was like, I don't go to the gym, so leg day is not a thing for me. And so I legit, like by the end of that day, I was like putting things in my teeth and like hauling myself up the banister because my legs were like, I was like, I'm not even going to be able to get off the toilet tomorrow. This is going to be terrible. So I messaged Glow actually and was like, how you like me now? What are your magic oils going to do now? You know, and she said just that. Take a cup of Epsom salts, couple drops of Panaway. You said lavender, which is also great for muscle and joint and skin. And put a couple drops of each. I think I probably did like 3 and 3. Put those in the Epsom salts, soaked until the water cooled down. I don't know if you know, we did that lymph challenge and they were like 40 minutes. You're supposed to soak in a bath for 40 minutes to see the true benefits of anything you put in the water.
Easy for me.
Yeah. So, but that was an interesting thing for me. So anyhow, so I soaked and yeah, and then you were the same. You were like, put some under your big toe. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? Like, okay, I'll put it, you know.
I love how we made fun of it, but we both did it. We were like,
well, I mean, what do you have to lose, right? Like, it's like what if it does, like, what if it does help? I have a team member that actually put, she did like a really heavy, she does silks, aerial silk. So she like hangs from ribbons from the sky. And her one arm, like she had done a really hard arm workout and she put Panaway on one arm and not the other. And woke up the next morning and was like, oh my goodness. So she ended up having to put the Panaway on the other arm. But yeah, during that thing for me, I did what you said. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning. I did the stretch, the like stretch my leg. Like, am I going to be able to walk or what? And was like, oh, like it worked. Like I'm not sore. I could feel that I had overused my muscles, but it wasn't like debilitating like it should have been. Like it didn't make me not be able. And I was like, oh, well, I had like enough water or something the day before. I had like no water, coffee and wine exclusively. So it definitely wasn't that. But I was like, okay, so day 2, right? That's when your sore muscles, that's when they're really bad, is the second day. And no, I had the same results the second day. It was actually better the second day. So yeah, it was like, that was my like, oh, they do things. Because up till that point, I was like using them to scent my house, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So next I have Digis. Okay, yes. So this is when I first got my bundle. Like I said, I had never been to a class at this point, so I didn't really know all the things. And so I kind of opened them and I was smelling them and I got to this one and I was like, yeah, I'm never going to use this. This smells really bad. I actually like the smell of it now, which is weird because now it smells like feeling better
Yeah.
and like earthy to me. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
truth is, if it didn't come in the kit, I never would have bought it.
Yes, I never would have bought it on my own.
And the other truth is, I carry it with me everywhere I go.
I know. I can't live.
Like everywhere I go. Because if I don't need it, someone else does. Like it
It's
just,
so true.
yeah.
We were in the car coming to you guys actually in Calgary, and I had it like in the very back in my suitcase, and I was like, oh my gosh, dang it, because one of the kids got car sick, and thank God purification, wouldn't you know it, did the trick. But this is like our go-to for car sick normally, and I didn't have the kid that normally gets that, so I didn't think I needed to have it up front with me because it's not one I put like in the car diffuser. But this has saved the day so many times. Even if you just eat too much food, you like ever have that problem? Me, just I went for like all you can eat the other night, and I was like, Digis. And it also is one of those oils that kind of shows you, like, again, not to overthink oils. You know where to put it. I find like if you're cramping kind of up here, you're going to put it here. If it's all over, you're going to put it all over. Like it's pretty, it teaches you to kind of trust your body in that. And again, it's one of the ones that wins over the skeptics because it works fast. So it's like, it smells bad, but it works really good. So now
it's a good one to use a carrier with as well, especially if you're looking to like rub like if your whole abdomen is kind of like bloated or whatever.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of carrier oil in there, in that allows you to cover a larger area. It's the same with Panaway. Like I wouldn't just take a drop of Panaway and rub it on my leg. Yeah. I'm going to mix it with a carrier so that I can get like the whole, like a whole muscle group or whatever to make that oil go further. It doesn't change the efficacy of the oil. Mm-hmm. It slows down a little bit how it absorbs into your body. And it also gives it a little bit more staying power because it takes longer for your body to metabolize it when it's kind of married with those bigger, fatter, the larger molecules that are in the fattier oils. Mm-hmm. So same with Digis. I tend to now dilute it just because it's got some stuff in it that potentially could cause a contact sensitivity. Yes. And I can't imagine life without being able to use Digis. So I'm gonna dilute it.
There is no shame in the dilution game. It makes your oils last way longer. Like who doesn't want that? And like you said, it gives them staying power. I almost find that my oils kind of work better when I dilute them. Like when I use a carrier with them, I find like I feel the impact. I don't know, maybe it's a mind thing, but I feel the difference. And this is another one that people like to put the roller top on. because then they don't have to get it on their hands, which is right. So then your hands don't smell like DiGize. Again, there are people who love the smell of it. I'm not trying to unsell you on DiGize. Tanya's like, yeah, DiGize. There are people who love the smell of it, but just so you know, if it smells bad, please still try it because it works. Okay, next we have purification. Yeah. This one, I used it the other day on a bee sting, actually, not on myself, but on my daughter. And it just takes like the sting right out and stops it from hurting. It's amazing. I love it for anything kind of bug related and just for anything smelly. Like I didn't realize how much stuff in my house stunk until I had purification in my life. And I was like, why is there so much smelly bad stuff in my house? But when you think about it, you have like my husband's work shoes or laundry bins, and we had diaper pails when I got started. And like, if you leave your clothes in the washing machine too long and they get that musky smell, like all that kind of stuff. There's so many, or you cook fish or you cook bacon, and yeah, bacon smells great when you're cooking it, but like 5 minutes after you're done cooking it, kind of leaves this like lingering, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So this one for diffusing or putting on cotton pads at the bottom of everything, you can make like a room spray with some Epsom salts or salt. I like to mix it with lavender personally, because it's just a smell I like. So you can kind of ditch the toxic room sprays that you've been using, which is a huge burden, like lifted in your household, like just diffusing and making your own room sprays. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you should say like all the smelly things because, you know, we all have always had those smelly things in our house, but a lot of us covered them with synthetic fragrance. And when we did that in the past, we actually burned out our olfactory systems.
Yeah.
So the more like so many products, even fragrance-free products, actually still have fragrance in them, but they use another chemical, a masking agent, to block the olfactory system so you're not smelling the fragrance ingredients, but they're still there. They're still doing all the same things that fragrance does. So I don't know if anybody else noticed. I assume that you're similar. It didn't used to faze me at all to walk down that aisle in the grocery store and like the big box store with like all of the things, you know, all of the smelly cleaners and stuff like that. Didn't used to faze me in the least to walk down that aisle back then. Now it's like even getting close to it, and it's unfair that they put garbage bags or paper towel right next to it. Like, why do they do that? But it's like as my olfactory system started to recover from that inundation of all that synthetic fragrance, and we stopped using that over the course of like probably my first year, it got like more and more. And now like we were camping last weekend and I could smell a family coming from 3 trailers away. I could smell the family walking through the campground coming towards our trailer. And it's like, and it was just the fabric softener and stuff on their clothes. And it's like, Jason said, do you think people realize? And I said, no, I don't think at all. I think just like I thought that it smells great. Like you pick it up and you're like, but to somebody who doesn't enjoy scent and fragrance, or who lives a like synthetic fragrance free life, it's like borderline offensive. It's really, it's so overpowering. And yeah, it blows my mind that, because I was that person. Like I think back to my very first Young Living rally that I ever went to. I had my kit for like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. I was still using all the poisons, like everything highly scented. All of my clothes would have been just like a scent bomb to all of these poor Young Living distributors that would have been at that event. And I didn't think anything of it because I didn't smell it. It didn't smell like it didn't smell wild to me, but knowing now what I know, they were probably like, oh, she must be new.
They were probably like, welcome.
Yeah. You need some books.
Oh my gosh, same. There's like no shame in the scent game because I was the same way when I got started. Like I had all the things like, and I thought I was like pretty clean, but I'm like, no, I was still using like cleaners. I say this because it was like they're bright purple, but they say pure and clean. And I just thought like, oh, it says it is on the label, so it must be, but it was like synthetic, smells like fresh rain. It's like fresh rain. I don't, anyways. So RC is next. This is the oil that like gave me one of my biggest aha moments when I first got started. So I'm going to overshare super quick story. My middle daughter, who was allergic to all the things, like literally everything. She had like a nut allergy and a dairy allergy and a gluten allergy and an egg allergy. Anyways, I could go on and on. So she had touched egg one night. She was with my husband and she touched raw egg in the sink. And I came home and she was like really puffy, and it wasn't like anaphylactic or anything. I would have used, you know, the proper stuff. If that were the case, I wouldn't have used the oils, but she was breathing and she was just really puffy. And like, it almost was like when she had any kind of raw egg, it was like an instant head cold. It was like pure phlegm. She was so phlegmy. And normally what I would do as a mom is I would reach for Benadryl and her inhaler, or like cough and cold medicine, because that's what the doctors told me to do. And that was the only thing I knew how to do. And I messaged Lisa and I said, okay, I have this bundle, like, what can I use? And she said, RC, like mix it with some coconut oil. So I did like, I think like 3 drops with a tablespoon of coconut oil. And I put it on her back and on her chest and on the bottom of her feet. And she said, you know, if an oil is strong for you, it's going to be even stronger to a child. So you don't want to hold any kind of oils that are strong, like right up in their face. So I kind of held it far away and I just let her take some deep breaths of the diluted stuff that was left over in my hand. And then this is where it gets kind of gross, but I have to share this story. She had like a huge sneeze and like all of her phlegm came out. And I caught it, which was really gross. But I looked at my husband and I was like, wow, like, look at this. Then I washed my hands and then I put some lavender on her with coconut oil and she fell asleep. And the reason why I love to share that story is because it was the first time I realized that if I would have given her the Tylenol or the Benadryl, nothing would have come out. It would have been suppressed in her tiny little body. And it made my heart like ache for all the times I had done it the other way. But also at the same time, it was like, where's my super cape? I just like made my baby feel amazing with plants. And like, this is really amazing to see and to witness. And that was kind of my first realization of like, this doesn't suppress it. This is actually like, the body did what it needed to do and it removed what was causing the issue. And so that was kind of my first like real moment of what these little bottles of magic could actually do. So, and it's also the marriage saver for like snoring, smoke season. Yes, we got thumbs up. Smoke season. I love diffusing it. Thank God this year for the rain, because there's like one little bug that won't leave me alone. Thank God for the rain, because we haven't had any of the fires, but I do love to even like put it right here if I'm stuffy and like right here. And yeah, it's like one of my favorites. Can you tell? I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Tamara's turn. Oh, you're muted. Oh no, you're muted.
There we go. Yeah, good for all the breathing things. Definitely good for nighttime sounds from the other side of the bed. The obnoxious sounds, obviously. It was
like, that was me. I was the snorer.
I think Tanya too. Yeah. Yeah. This was Jason's aha, because he got a sinus infection in January. So we started in December, and in January he got a sinus infection, and he was like the biggest. Not only was he skeptical that they could work, but he was super resistant to even try. And so I literally like put it in a roller and I diluted it because he's a baby and I, didn't want to upset him too bad. And I literally like went downstairs and like sat on him and held him down and like rolled it on his chest. And then he was like, oh, my eyes. Like he made like this big production out of it. And then I came upstairs and we were sitting upstairs chatting, and he came up probably 10 minutes later and he was like, what was in that thing you put on me? And I was like, oh, it's just one of the oils out of my starter bundle. And he was like, can I take that thing downstairs? and he wanted the roller to take downstairs because it had like immediately relieved what was going on in his sinuses, right? I mean, it's a Health Canada approved for cough and cold symptoms. Like it is like a powerhouse for that. So just like Digize is for digestion, like that's a Health Canada, like use this for digestive issues because it just has all of the good things. And when you look at what's in these oils, these are the things that our great grandparents used the real plant juice, right? The real plants and stuff to make things that do the same things that we now have the ability to distill them out and use them this way, right? Thank you, Gary.
So grateful. Speaking of Gary, I have to share this story. I haven't shared this story in forever. I kind of skimmed past it. I don't know why, because it's so freaking fascinating. But Thieves is actually based on a group of thieves. So Gary saw this blend in a museum, or heard of this blend from a museum in France. So the reason that it got its name is because during the plague, there were these men that were robbing the dead and dying. They were trying to get back home and to get money. So they were robbing the dead and dying, and they were digging up graves to get gold and stuff, and they weren't catching the plague. And so the king had heard about this, and he said, find these men and bring them to me. I used to think that the story went that he said, if you tell me what you used, I'll set you free, but they never got set free. So sorry to be a bummer about that. I like looked up the real story and I was like, oh, they didn't make it. But anyways, they gave us thieves. So they were actually spice trade merchants, and they dipped their scarf in this blend of these spices and these herbs. So that's what's all in here right now. They put it over their face, and then they wore these like kind of masks over it, those bird beak masks. I don't know if you've ever seen these people, but maybe that will ring some bells. And then they could go and rob these people and not catch it. And so the blend is so powerful that it's in a museum still in France. And so Gary added eucalyptus to it, is the only thing that he did to change it, which made it, I think, even more of a powerhouse. And a cool test that you can do at home, because it's one thing for me just to tell you how amazing this oil is. It's another thing for you to actually see it. Take a piece of bakery bread. Now I say bakery because like Wonder Bread doesn't mold. So don't use that, but get like a piece of bakery bread and put a drop of your thieves on the top of that bread, just one drop, put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in a cupboard and forget about it. And like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, all around the drop of thieves will not have a touch of mold or bacteria. And eventually the rest of your bread will turn into like a powder, and it gets pretty gross. And then your husband's like, why do we have this moldy bread in the cupboard? And you're like, don't touch it. I'm taking it to classes. But it's so cool to see just like how powerful it is. It's such a visual, and one that I've shown all my kids, because like I'm always rubbing this on the bottom of their feet before they go to school or they go to friends for a sleepover, because we don't want to catch all those, like, you know, kids just bring in all the germs sometimes. So I'm like, but this is why, guys, like if it's doing this to the bread, think of what it's doing to your body. And they actually have a whole cleaning line based on this oil because of how freaking powerful it is, even a toothpaste. And one really cool thing I can say, living on an acreage and having a septic tank, is that I can tell you firsthand, and I know a few other people that have the same like aha moment, is that before our septic tank, because we had bleach products used in the home and stuff like that, the healthy organisms were also getting killed off, because yes, bleach kills 99.9%. We don't want to kill all of the germs and bacteria, you guys. We actually need a healthy amount of good bacteria to thrive. So killing all of it is not a good thing, even though we've been marketed that it is a good thing. So since I've made the switch to Thieves, our septic tank has gotten like an A+ every single time it gets checked, because the healthy organisms are just absolutely thriving, because nature knows what needs to go and what needs to stay. And it's so crazy to say this to people that are like not oily yet, but I swear I even clean stuff and it stays clean longer, because I feel like the healthy organisms are still at work. Like, has anyone found that? Like, you don't have to dust as often? Has anyone like noticed that? It's weird. I don't know. So 1 cap of the Thieves cleaner makes an entire spray bottle. So I just have this like amber glass cleaning bottle that I got off of Amazon. I got it in a pack of like 3, I think, for a super affordable price. And I use 1 cap. I fill this all up. I fill the rest with water. It works out to, I think, to be like 80 cents a spray bottle. I'm using so much less plastic, which makes me really, really happy. There's only 1 bottle of cleaner underneath my sink now. If the kids get into there and like drink something, I remember one time I walked in and Danny was sitting there with like her mouth on the cleaning bottle. And I'm like, thank God that's toxin free. Oh boy. So it's just like, it's a win-win, really. Like, it saves you money. It's better for the environment. It's less plastic. I mean, it's good for your septic tank. It's good for the water. I can't believe all of the old cleaners I used to just dump down the drain into the water systems. And I just thought it was okay because, again, when we don't know better, we can't do better. So yeah, the oil has like branched out into a whole cleaning line because of how amazing it is. I could just talk about thieves all day too. Sorry, Tamara, go ahead.
No, that's totally cool. It's good for cough and cold, especially the kind of cough and cold that has gone around lately. It's good for airborne things, right? Like, it's got its place. One of the cool things about essential oils is that bugs can get resistant to medications, cleaners, things like that, because it's the same. Like, for example, a drug like amoxicillin has been the same for like 50 years. It has not changed. The formulation has not changed. It has been that exact same thing. So when you start to get like antibiotic resistant microbes, it's because the bugs have gotten smarter than the drugs, right? Whereas with essential oils, what you're dealing with is something that it changes the constituents, and it changes every single batch. So it's always like one step ahead. So if it's like antiviral or antibacterial or anything like that, the organism never has the chance to get smarter than the oil, because the oil changes constituents slightly, but enough every single time, just based on sun exposure, water, just the conditions, time of year, all of those things. So it's one of the cool things about essential oils, and thieves specifically, because of its ability to cleanse, I guess. And it also is like the best hand sanitizer, like,
yes,
ever. We have one more oil, but
yes, there's another layer to your kit. When you take your oils off, make sure you check beneath your little trap door here, because look at this goodness. You don't want to miss out on this. The hand sanitizer is liquid gold. I'm just saying, right now in the world, it really is.
Yeah.
So this right here is actually, it was on the approved list from the government to use against COVID, which is really, really cool. It used to be called the hand purifier, but now we're allowed to call it a sanitizer. And it's used with plant alcohol. So it's not like those other things that you use in stores where you're like, this smells like straight vodka and it has like blue dye in it. What am I even putting? Anything that we put on our hands or on our body is going to absorb into our bloodstream. This is like our largest organ right here, and it acts like a sponge. So we really have to be very careful what we're putting on it, and especially our hands. Like, this is how we get the most toxic buildup, you guys, is actually through like our hands, because we're washing, we're in our dish soap, we're using moisturizers, we're using hand sanitizers. When we go to the store, whenever you wash your hands after the bathroom, like, so many of those soaps you see have SLS and fragrance and things that disrupt your hormones and have alcohol in it that dries and cracks. And like, have you ever had that where you get like your hands start to crack and bleed? So that's what I get from regular hand sanitizers. So I've never been able to use those other ones, even when I didn't know how bad they were. I just knew that they made my hands really sore. So this won't do that. It's like more moisturizing, and also works as deodorant in a pinch.
And for smelly feet.
Oh,
like those summer flats, you take them off and you're like, oh no. just sit down and put some hand sanitizer on your feet. You'll be fine.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna try that. I mean, not that I would know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally gonna try that. So last but certainly not least, for the oils in your bundle, you get your Northern Lights Black Spruce. And I have to say, this is maybe my favorite. No, they're all my favorite for different reasons. But this is one that I do not go a day without using. Like legit, I do not go a day without it because I diffuse it every night. Like I might mix it with other things, but I either diffuse it or I put it on my big toe, like, yeah, every single night. And it just smells, it makes my room smell like a forest. And that to me feels like safety and like calm. And it triggers my brain to go, okay, it's time to relax. It's time to sleep. And I just think it's an amazing part of anyone's bedtime routine. I haven't had anyone say it doesn't work for sleep yet in 6 years. So, I mean, just saying, yeah.
Also really good for supporting hormones, especially for the men. So yeah, just, everybody, like men and women, we all have weird hormone stuff that happens as we get older, right? And so just some of our hormones decrease. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that happen in our body, like growing old's not for the faint of heart. So but this one's really great for supporting those like normal hormone production and keeping things kind of Tanya's like,
yeah.
Yeah. If you know, ladies. Right.
Can't catch
and again with the breathing, the grounding, the just like need to bring it down a notch. Northern Lights Black Spruce and a couple of really nice deep breaths is a really great way to, yeah.
Yes. It's actually one of the highest frequency oils. And this is another thing that may sound woo-woo, but everything has a frequency, and disease actually happens like below 60 megahertz, I believe, is like where disease starts to thrive. So when we fall really, really low in our frequency, we can catch things a lot easier. And this has like a frequency of, I think, 427 megahertz, somewhere around 400.
Hi.
Yeah, it's like, think about that. Like, get it on your body. Things that can lower our frequency are like TV, cell phones, any kind of blue light, microwaves, junk food, really negative thinking, all that kind of stuff lowers our frequency. And this is stuff that's measured. This isn't just woo-woo. This is scientifically measured stuff. So this is like, when you want to talk about like raising your vibe, it sounds like raise your vibe, but like actually though, get it on your feet, get it on you, diffuse, breathe it in. And another thing I just wanted to say too, when we talk about ingesting, I think sometimes people think ingesting is like the more aggressive way to put something when you're using your oils, but it's actually your sense of smell is the quickest way to get something into your body. And so when you smell something, it's in your brain in 20 seconds, affecting your emotions, like your nervous system, all that kind of stuff. So even just smelling them is like a really great way to raise that vibration. So yeah, maybe that's why we're all so happy when we're oily. Especially after smelling this kit, I'm like, I feel so good.
Yeah.
We should just do this every night. Just smell this kit. Amazing. So we talked about this that you get, and we kind of touched on this because we said it goes on the DiGize. So this is your little roller filament. You can just screw this in and it will click into the bottle. You don't have to hammer it. Just saying, no, that will make a mess. You might get purification all over your carpet. Not that I know from experience. I'm just saying you can just screw that in and it will just click. You also get these little share bottles. So if you're like us and we said, we're never going to share, and then you have these amazing wins and you have these life-changing, like, I'm sorry, but if I buy a pair of jeans that changes my life, I am going to tell all my friends. That's just the kind of person I am. So that's how I was with oils too. I'm like, you're not sleeping. you need this. You're not digesting your food. Like you actually need this. Like just try this. And I was handing them out like crazy because I knew that it would really help people. So these are really great to share with your friends. And if you happen to share and somebody gets started with a bundle, Young Living gives you a thank you check of $67. So do with that what you want. I always say Young Living's like a smorgasbord. You can like, if you just want to use this one product, that's fine. If you want to fill your plate with like sharing and using these products and coming on the calls and coming to, like, you can, whatever you want to put on your plate. I was like, give me all the things. So here I still am. So yeah. And then you also get your Ningxia, which I used to say, and you also get juice, but this is so much more than juice, you guys. And we had some scientific studies come out. I don't know, Tamara, if you remember like the data on any of that. I don't know it off the top of my head. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm putting you on.
No, I know that it was shown to improve sleep. It was shown to improve mood overall. Those are the two things that I like
and
most remember,
energy,
but who doesn't
like
need help in those two areas?
Exactly. So this is one I kind of pushed off and I thought I didn't need because I thought all like of these juices were kind of created the same and they were just kind of high in sugar and yada yada. But this actually only has 2 grams of sugar per serving, which is really cool. So it's actually safe for diabetics even and good for insulin levels and all that kind of stuff. My biggest win with this, oh my gosh, one biggest win. Oh my, I don't even know. So for me, I mean, my skin was a really big win. I saw changes in that. I saw changes in my nails. My sleep was better. I didn't have the scientific data to prove that I was sleeping better, but I knew like I was sleeping really good, digesting. It's kind of like a full body support, really. It just like supports every single system. My gut health is a huge one. And if you've done any research on your gut health, you know, it's like your health is basically in your gut. That is like mental health, like overall well-being. And so for me, I was just like not craving as much sugar, sleeping better, not needing that nap at kind of 2 p.m. in the afternoon anymore. I felt like I had just a good energy all day.
Yeah, agreed. Digestion is, that whole gut brain axis thing is like amazing. Do you have a Ningxia highlight on your Instagram?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. We're gonna change that tonight. If
I know that there's one. I know that I have one on my Instagram. So, and it just kind of gives the facts about like amino acids and because there's so much information that we could literally do like an entire class just on Ningxia, right? So, yeah. And Ningxia has just come out with like on the US side, the Ningxia greens, which is like,
I'm loving the Ningxia greens. I'm trying to get this bottle and it also comes, sorry, like it's kind of loud. Ningxia also comes like this. So you can see right here, like this is, they keep all the skins and everything on the fruit so that you're getting all the fibrous, like nutritional value from that as well. And you can just like shake it up when you're ready to enjoy it. And oh my gosh, I can't live without this product actually. If I had to take one product to a deserted island, I think it would be Ningxia because it has oils in it. It like supports everything. But Ningxia greens, this is total squirrel moment. Let me just say, I was so bloated the other day because I was talking about the all you can eat smorgasbord we had. And I was like, oh, I don't feel that great the next day. And I was like, I have these digestive greens, like, let's see what they can do. And my bloat was like gone, like completely gone in like 20 minutes. Like I can see the difference from the multi-greens, which is more liver support to that. But anyways, that was just like squirrel moment. But Ningxia it's amazing, life-changing.
Yeah. I mean, our supplements in general are
life-changing.
Pretty top bar for sure.
Ningxia makes up 40% of sales for Young Living, and Young Living is a $2 billion company. So if that doesn't tell you how much people love Ninja, then I don't know what will. So that is the starter bundle. You guys, thank you so much for being here tonight with us. That was so much fun. And if you're watching and you're like, I want to get started, reach out to anyone who sent you this link and say to them, I am so freaking ready to get going and like feel amazing and change my life. Or you can just say, I just want the bundle and then I don't want anything else. You can be like me and you can do it the other way, and that's fine too, because the products will change your life. And yeah, so reach out. And again, thank you so much for spending your time with us. And we will see you next week. We're going to do these weekly. Bring a friend. Yeah. Yeah. Bye, everybody.